The Awakening. The archival station Theta 9 hung motionless in the void between stars, its ancient hull covered in 3 millennia of cosmic dust. To any passing ship, it would appear as just another piece of space debris, perhaps a long-forgotten satellite or abandoned mining platform. That was exactly how Dr. Elena Santos wanted it to look. She stood in the station's observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the latest sensor readings. After 15 years of searching, they had finally found it. The signature they'd been looking for all this time. The quantum resonance pattern was unmistakable, matching perfectly with the theoretical models she'd spent her career developing. Director Santos, her assistant's voice came through the comm system. The Council's quarterly patrol just passed through the outer sensor range. We're clear for the next 72 hours. Elena nodded, though no one could see her. Begin power-up sequence for Section 0. Authorization Santos Alpha 773. The station's systems hummed to life around her, banks of ancient machinery awakening from their carefully maintained dormancy. Deep within the station's core, crystals that hadn't seen full power in thousands of years began to glow with stored energy. Warning, the station's AI announced, its voice carrying the formal tones of Earth's last days. Full activation of Section 0 will alert nearby monitoring stations. Estimated time until Council investigation. 6 hours. Acknowledged, Elena replied. Proceed with activation. Send the alert to all resistance cells. It's time. As the station's hidden systems powered up, Elena thought about the weight of this moment. For 3,000 years, the scattered remnants of humanity had hidden in the shadows of the galaxy, building their strength, preserving their knowledge, and waiting for this exact day. The Council thought they had destroyed humanity when they shattered Earth, but they had only succeeded in forcing humanity to evolve. The main chamber of Section 0 filled with soft blue light as the stasis pods began their revival sequence. There were 10,000 of them, each containing a carefully selected individual from Earth's final days. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, artists, the best of humanity, preserved by a desperate plan that even the Council never discovered. Elena's great-grandmother had been one of the few who escaped the destruction of Earth, part of the resistance that knew the Council's betrayal was coming. While the Council thought they were destroying humanity's homeworld, they never knew about the preservation program. They never found the facilities like Theta 9, hidden in the spaces between stars. The first pod's status changed from blue to green, and its cover began to slide open with a soft hiss. Inside, a man with graying temples opened his eyes for the first time in 3 millennia. Dr. James Chen, the architect of the preservation program, took his first breath of recycled station air. Did it work? He asked, his voice hoarse from disuse. Did we save enough of us? Elena helped him sit up, supporting his weakened muscles. Yes, Dr. Chen. We did more than survive. We're ready to take back what's ours. Around them, more pods were beginning their revival sequences. Each one contained a person who had volunteered to sleep through the ages, trusting in their descendants to wake them when the time was right. They were humanity's insurance policy, the guarantee that Earth's destruction wouldn't be the end of human civilization. The Council? Chen asked, accepting a hydration pack from a medical drone. Still in power, Elena replied, but not for long. While they congratulated themselves on destroying Earth, we built something new. We have colonies now, hidden in dark space. Technologies they can't imagine. Ships that make their fleets look primitive. Chen's eyes widened as he absorbed the information on the datapad Elena handed him. These production numbers, the fleet sizes, how did you manage all this without them knowing? We learned from their mistake, Elena said. They thought crushing Earth would break us. Instead, it taught us patience. We built our strength in secret, developed technologies they never dreamed of. The Council's arrogance made them blind to the possibility that we could survive, let alone thrive. Through the observation window, the first ships of the human fleet were dropping out of hyperspace, sleek vessels that represented the pinnacle of 3,000 years of hidden development. Their hulls were covered in metamaterials that made them nearly invisible to standard sensors. Their weapons were beyond anything the Council possessed. "We're not just going to survive anymore," Elena continued, watching as more ships arrived. "We're going to show them exactly why they were right to fear humanity's potential. But we're also going to show them where they went wrong. They chose destruction because they feared our strength. We'll choose justice because we understand the responsibility that comes with power." Chen stood on shaky legs, moving to the window to watch the gathering fleet. More pods were opening around them, more of Earth's best and brightest taking their first breaths in this new age. The station's medical drones moved efficiently between the pods, helping the revivals adjust to their new reality. "How long do we have?" Chen asked. "The Council will detect us soon," Elena replied. "But we're ready for them. Each of those ships out there represents a colony of humans who never forgot Earth, never forgot what was taken from us. The Council thought they were being thorough when they destroyed our homeworld. They never considered that spreading us across the galaxy would only make us stronger." The station's eye spoke again. "Council long-range sensors have detected power signatures. Estimated response time: 5 hours, 47 minutes. Elena smiled. "Perfect. Just enough time to complete the revival sequence. When their ships arrive, they won't find a broken remnant of humanity. They'll find us at our full strength, united and ready." She turned to face the chamber full of opening pods, each one releasing another piece of humanity's legacy into this new age. "Welcome to the future," she announced to the awakening sleepers. "We've kept our promise. Earth is gone, but humanity is stronger than ever. And now, after 3,000 years of preparation, it's time to show the galaxy exactly what that means." The station continued its work, awakening the preserved humans one by one. Outside, more ships arrived every minute, gathering for the coming confrontation. Humanity had been patient, had built their strength in secret for 3 millennia. Now, finally, it was time to emerge from the shadows and take their place in the galaxy, not as victims seeking revenge, but as a power that had transformed their greatest defeat into the source of their greatest strength. The Council had tried to write humanity's ending. Instead, they had only written the prologue to humanity's true story. Legacy of the Stars. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the HSS Prometheus, watching the tactical display as it tracked the Council response fleet's approach. She was the spitting image of her ancestor James Chen, carrying the same determined look that had helped humanity survive its darkest hour. "They're sending 12 dreadnoughts," her tactical officer reported. "Standard Council battle formation. No sign they've upgraded their technology since our last intelligence sweep." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Council's stagnation had been their greatest advantage. While humanity had spent 3 millennia innovating, adapting, and evolving, the Council had grown comfortable in their perceived dominance. They still used the same basic technologies that had helped them destroy Earth, never imagining they would face a serious challenge to their authority. "Status of the revival operation?" she asked, keeping her eyes on the tactical display. 80% complete, Admiral. Dr. Santos reports all revivals are proceeding within expected parameters. The preserved humans are adapting well to the neural updates. The neural updates had been one of humanity's greatest achievements during their exile. Direct neural interfaces that could transfer 3,000 years of history and technological advancement directly into the preserved humans' minds, allowing them to wake up fully aware of everything they had missed. Multiple Council communication buoys detected, her communications officer announced. "They're broadcasting the standard warnings about restricted space." Sarah nodded. "Let them broadcast. Maintain communications blackout until all revivals are complete. What's the status of the quantum shield network?" "All nodes are in position and powered, Admiral. The moment they detect Council weapons charging, the shield grid will activate." The quantum shield network was just one of countless innovations humanity had developed in secret, a web of interconnected quantum fields that could absorb and redirect energy weapons, making traditional Council weapons nearly useless. They had tested it extensively against replicas of Council technology, ensuring it would work when the moment finally came. Through the bridge viewport, Sarah could see more human ships arriving. Each vessel represented a different hidden colony, a different branch of humanity that had developed in isolation before being carefully reconnected by the Resistance network. Some ships bore the marks of the Mars diaspora. Others showed the distinctive designs of the Centauri Collective or the Europa Legion. Message from Director Santos, the comm officer reported. Final revival sequence initiating. Full operation completion in 20 minutes. Sarah touched the medallion at her throat, a family heirloom containing a small piece of Earth stone. Open a channel to all ships. It's time they understood what they're facing. The communications officer nodded, and Sarah stood straighter, knowing her words would reach every human vessel in the fleet. 3,000 years ago, the Council thought they could end humanity's story with a single act of genocide. They believed that by destroying Earth, they would eliminate what they saw as a threat to their power. Today, we prove how wrong they were. She paused, looking at the tactical display showing the approaching Council fleet. But we are not here for simple revenge. We are here to correct a fundamental flaw in galactic civilization. The Council's actions proved they were unworthy of their power. They chose destruction over dialogue, fear over understanding. The final stasis pods were opening in Section 0 now, completing the revival of Earth's preserved legacy. We have spent 3 millennia preparing not just to survive, but to thrive. Each of our colonies developed different solutions to the same problems. We have combined our knowledge, our technologies, our strengths. We are no longer just the scattered remnants of Earth. We are humanity evolved. The Council fleet was close enough now that their ships were visible to the naked eye, their conventional drives leaving bright trails against the darkness of space. They expect to find a forgotten outpost or a primitive rebellion. Instead, they will find humanity at its finest, united, advanced, and prepared. But most importantly, they will find us willing to do what they never could, to use power with wisdom rather than fear. Sarah nodded to her tactical officer. Activate the quantum shield network. Power up all systems, but do not charge weapons. Let's show them exactly what they're dealing with. The space between the human fleet and the approaching Council ships shimmered as the quantum shield network activated. Thousands of quantum nodes connected, creating an energy field that would render conventional weapons useless. Council ships are charging weapons, Tactical reported. They're maintaining their approach. Let them come, Sarah said. 3,000 years ago, they chose to act out of fear of what humanity might become. Today, they'll learn that their fear was justified. But their response was wrong. We could have been their greatest allies. Instead, they forced us to become something far more powerful. The first Council dreadnought fired, its energy weapons reaching out across space toward the human fleet. The quantum shield caught the blast, absorbing it and redirecting the energy harmlessly into subspace. On the Council ship's sensors, it would appear as if their weapons had simply ceased to exist. They're cycling weapons, attempting to compensate, Tactical reported. No effect. Sarah allowed herself another small smile. Now let's show them what 3,000 years of human innovation looks like. Power up the gravity lance. The Prometheus's main weapon powered up, a marvel of engineering that could manipulate gravity itself. Not to destroy, but to disable, to demonstrate power without resorting to the Council's tactics of destruction. All ships report ready, Admiral, her XO announced. The revival operation is complete. We are at full strength. Sarah nodded, thinking of all the generations that had worked in secret for this moment. The Council had tried to write humanity's epitaph. Instead, they had only written the preface to humanity's greatest chapter. Begin the operation, she ordered. Let's show them exactly why they should have tried talking to us instead of trying to destroy us. The human fleet moved forward in perfect formation, their advanced ships making the Council vessels look like relics from a forgotten age. The time for hiding was over. The time for humanity to reshape the galaxy had begun. The reckoning begins. The Council flagship Eternal Justice hung paralyzed in space, its mighty engines silenced by the human fleet's gravity lance. On its bridge, High Commander Vexterra of the Galactic Council watched in mounting horror as 3,000 years of assumed superiority crumbled before his eyes. "Impossible," he whispered, his scaled hands gripping his command chair. "Our weapons, they simply vanish, as if they never existed." His tactical officer, a member of the silicon-based Krith species, clicked rapidly on her control panel. "High Commander, their technology. It operates on principles we've never seen. They're not just blocking our weapons, they're erasing them from existence." A new hologram appeared above the bridge, showing the human face. Admiral Sarah Chen looked at the assembled council leaders with calm confidence. "Your weapons cannot harm us, High Commander. We've had 3 millennia to prepare for this moment." Vexterra drew himself up, his ceremonial armor glinting under the emergency lights. "You are descendants of Earth. Impossible. We destroyed that world. The Council's judgment was final." "The Council's judgment," Sarah replied, "was a mistake born of fear and arrogance. You destroyed our homeworld, yes. But in doing so, you forced us to become something far more powerful than we would have been otherwise." The tactical display showed more human ships emerging from hyperspace, each one demonstrating technology that made the Council's finest vessels look primitive by comparison. Their hulls seemed to bend light itself, their drives operated without any visible emission. "We are offering you a choice," Sarah continued, "one you never gave humanity. Surrender your authority and work with us to build a better galactic society, or watch as we systematically dismantle everything you've built. We don't need to destroy you to defeat you." Vexterra's secondary heart began beating faster. "You expect the Council to simply surrender to refugees, to ghosts." A new voice joined the conversation. Elena Santos appeared beside Sarah in the hologram. "We expect you to recognize reality, High Commander. Look at your sensors. Examine your situation. You cannot fight us. You cannot stop us. But unlike you, we're not here to destroy." As if to emphasize her point, the human fleet activated their quantum shields around the Council vessels. The shimmering field of energy made it clear that the Council ships were completely at their mercy. 3,000 years ago, Elena continued, "You claimed humanity was too dangerous to exist in your galactic society. You were right about one thing. We were dangerous, but not in the way you feared. We were dangerous because we represented change, because we refused to accept artificial limitations, because we dared to imagine a better way." The Council's secondary fleet arrived then, dropping out of hyperspace with weapons charged. Sarah didn't even bother to look at them. With a simple command, the human gravity lance reached out again, and the new arrivals found themselves as helpless as their companions. "By destroying Earth," Sarah said, "you taught us an important lesson. You taught us that power without wisdom is worse than no power at all. You showed us exactly what kind of leaders we didn't want to become." Vexterra watched as more of his ships were systematically disabled, not destroyed. These humans had the power to obliterate the entire Council fleet, but they were choosing not to. That, more than anything, shook his certainty. "What do you want?" he finally asked. "We want what we always wanted," Elena replied. "A chance to contribute to galactic civilization, a seat at the table, the opportunity to help build something better than what exists now. The only difference is, this time we're not asking permission." On hundreds of Council worlds, human agents who had hidden in plain sight for centuries began activating dormant systems. Council defense networks went dark. Communication relays redirected to human control. 3,000 years of careful infiltration and preparation came to fruition. "Your choice is simple," Sarah said. "Work with us to create a new Council, one based on cooperation and mutual respect, rather than fear and control, or watch as we create it without you. We don't need your permission anymore, but we would prefer your cooperation." Vexterra looked at his bridge crew. The Krith tactical officer was still frantically trying to understand the human technology. The Moravian sensors operator had given up entirely, their multiple eyes wide with astonishment. The Zenthari weapons master was running simulation after simulation, each one showing the same result: complete human superiority. "How?" he asked finally. "How did you achieve all this in secret?" "You gave us no choice," Alina answered. "When you destroyed Earth, you scattered us across the galaxy. Each group of survivors developed in their own way, solved problems differently, advanced along different paths. When we finally reconnected, we combined our knowledge, our innovations, our perspectives. Unity through diversity, something the Council never understood." Sarah leaned forward slightly in the hologram. "Your answer, High Commander. Will you help us build something better, or shall we proceed without you?" Vexterra looked again at his disabled fleet, at the reports flooding in from Council worlds, at the incredible display of power and restraint before him. 3,000 years ago, the Council had chosen destruction because they feared human potential. Now, faced with that potential fully realized, he had to make a different choice. "I will need to contact the full Council," he said finally. "Of course," Sarah replied with a slight smile. "But know this, we are done hiding. We are done asking for permission to exist. The galaxy is about to change, High Commander. The only question is whether the Council will change with it, or be left behind in the wake of progress." The human fleet maintained their position, their quantum shields shimmering in space, their gravity lances holding the Council ships helpless. They had waited 3,000 years for this moment. They could wait a few hours more for the Council to face reality. The age of hiding was over. The time of reckoning had begun. Echoes of Earth. The Grand Council chamber on Centaurus Prime hadn't existed when Earth was destroyed. Humans had built it in secret over centuries, preparing for this exact moment. Now, representatives from every Council species sat beneath its vast quantum crystal dome, facing the truth humanity had orchestrated. Dr. Elena Santos stood at the central podium, the combined knowledge of preserved Earth and 3,000 years of human development behind her words. Behind her, a holographic display showed the ruins of Earth, still orbiting its star after all these millennia. "Look, well," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. "Look at what fear and prejudice accomplished. The destruction of Earth wasn't just an attempt to destroy humanity. It was the Council's greatest failure of imagination." The Council representatives shifted uncomfortably. Some wore elaborate environmental suits, others floated in gravity nullification fields, each adapted to their unique biology. All of them had heard the stories of Earth's destruction, but few had ever seen the actual evidence. "But we're not here to dwell on past mistakes," Elena continued. "We're here to prevent future ones. Humanity has spent 3,000 years not just surviving, but learning, growing, understanding. We've built something that your predecessors never imagined possible." The hologram shifted, showing the network of human colonies and installations that had existed right under the Council's nose. Hidden in dark space, camouflaged by advanced technology, protected by quantum shields that made them virtually undetectable. High Commander Vexterra, now acting as interim Council leader, spoke up. "These achievements are remarkable, but they also prove why our predecessors feared humanity. Such power, such rapid advancement, is exactly what the galaxy needs," Sarah Chen interrupted, stepping up beside Alina. "Look at your own societies. How many of your technological advances came in the last 1,000 years? How many new solutions have you found to old problems?" The silence was telling. The Council species had largely stagnated, comfortable in their perceived superiority and established hierarchies. "We propose a new structure," Elena said. "Not human dominance, that would be repeating your mistakes. Instead, we offer partnership, real partnership based on what each species does best." A hologram changed again, showing a new model of galactic organization. No longer a hierarchy with the Council at the top, but a network of interconnected civilizations, each contributing their unique strengths. The Krith's silicon-based intelligence makes them natural data processors. The Xanthari's multiple limbs and enhanced spatial awareness make them incredible engineers. The Moravians' ability to perceive quantum states directly gives them unique insights into fundamental physics. Every species has something valuable to contribute. A Moravian representative raised their sensory stocks. And humans, what do you contribute besides advanced weapons and the ability to hide from us? Sarah smiled. Adaptation, innovation, the ability to look at problems from new angles, the drive to never stop questioning, never stop improving. But most importantly, the understanding that diversity isn't a threat, it's an advantage. The hologram shifted one final time, showing the combined technological achievements of humanity's scattered colonies. Each group had solved similar problems in different ways, created different technologies, developed different perspectives. When they reconnected, those differences had become their greatest strength. "We don't want to rule," Elena said firmly. "We want to build, to create something better than either humanity or the Council could achieve alone. We've spent 3,000 years proving we can survive without you. Now we're offering the chance to thrive together." The chamber erupted in discussion, hundreds of species debating in their native languages. The quantum translators humans had developed ensured everyone could understand each other, another example of human innovation. "There will be resistance," Vexterra warned. "Many will see this as a human takeover." "Let them look closer," Sarah replied. "We could have destroyed the Council fleet. We could have used our agents to dismantle your civilization. Instead, we're offering to help rebuild it. Better, stronger, together." Elena raised her hand, and the chamber fell silent. 3,000 years ago, the Council looked at human potential and saw only threat. Today, we're showing you what that potential really means. We don't want revenge. We want progress. We want innovation. We want to build a galaxy where no species has to hide their capabilities out of fear of destruction. The quantum crystal dome above them shimmered with patterns of light, a display of technology that merged human innovation with Xanthari engineering and Moravian quantum understanding. It was a small example of what cooperation could achieve. "The choice is yours," Sarah concluded. "But know this, humanity will never hide again. We will never ask permission to advance, to innovate, to grow. You can work with us to build something extraordinary, or you can maintain your old ways and watch as progress leaves you behind." The chamber buzzed with conversation again, but this time the tone was different. The Council species were beginning to understand that they weren't facing a conquest, but an opportunity. The humans hadn't come to destroy the old order, but to transform it into something better. As the discussions continued, Elena and Sarah shared a knowing look. The hard part was just beginning. Changing a civilization was more challenging than defeating one. But humanity had spent 3,000 years preparing for this moment, learning from the Council's mistakes, developing not just technology, but wisdom. The age of fear was ending. The age of cooperation was about to begin. New dawn. 5 years after humanity's return, the galaxy had changed more than it had in the previous millennium. The view from the observation deck of Unity Station, built on the edge of Earth's shattered remains, served as a powerful reminder of both what was lost and what had been gained. Admiral Sarah Chen stood beside Dr. Elena Santos, watching as ships from a dozen different species maneuvered through the debris field. They were gathering fragments of Earth, not as trophies, but as part of an unprecedented cooperative project to memorialize humanity's lost homeworld. The Xanthari Engineering Corps finished the Quantum Foundation yesterday, Sarah said, tracking a group of their multi-limbed workers as they guided massive pieces of Earth's core into position. The Moravians say they can begin the quantum stabilization process within the week. Elena nodded, her hand resting on the same window where she had once watched the preserved humans awaken. "Not a restoration," she said softly. "We can't bring back what was lost, but we can build something new from the pieces. The memorial would be more than a monument. Using combined technology from multiple species, they were transforming Earth's scattered remains into a living installation, a space station unlike any ever built, where representatives from every civilization could meet, learn, and work together. Message from the Cooperative Council. Sarah's comm unit announced. The Krith data networks have finished processing the latest technological exchange. They're reporting a 300% increase in cross-species innovation that had been one of humanity's first initiatives, replacing the old Council's restrictive technology controls with an open exchange system. Under the new Cooperative Council, species shared their advances freely, each contributing their unique perspectives to solve galactic challenges. Director Santos, a young Moravian researcher, floated up to them, their sensory stalks quivering with excitement. The Combined Human-Moravian Quantum Perception Project. We've had a breakthrough. We found a way to let other species experience quantum states directly. Elena smiled. This was what they had worked for, not just sharing technology, but combining different species' natural abilities in ways that benefited everyone. Excellent work, Dr. Carell. Schedule a full presentation for the Innovation Exchange. The Innovation Exchange was another human initiative, replacing the old Council's restrictive meetings with open forums where any species could present new ideas. It had already produced more advances in 5 years than the old Council had seen in centuries. Admiral, Sarah's XO called from nearby. The first graduates of the Combined Fleet Academy are ready for their commissioning ceremony. The Academy had been controversial at first, the idea of training military officers from different species together, sharing not just tactics but perspectives. Now it was one of the most visible symbols of the new cooperative era. Remember when they feared us? Sarah asked quietly as they watched ships from dozens of species working together among Earth's remains, when they thought human potential was something to be destroyed. Elena nodded. They feared what they didn't understand. They couldn't imagine that strength could come from cooperation rather than control. A massive piece of Earth's crust moved into position, guided by the combined efforts of Zentheri engineers and human gravity lance technology. Where Earth had once been destroyed by fear, its remains were now being transformed by cooperation. Message from High Coordinator Vexterra. The comm unit announced. The former council leader had become one of the strongest supporters of the new system, perhaps because he had seen firsthand the difference between humanity's power and its wisdom. The last of the old council's restricted technology vaults have been opened. His message read, all species now have full access to the combined knowledge of galactic civilization. The age of secrets is officially over. Sarah smiled. He's learned well. We all have, Elena replied. Even humanity. We could have come back seeking revenge. Instead, we chose to build something better. The observation deck filled with light as the first quantum matrices of the memorial activated, beginning the process of stabilizing Earth's remains into their new form. The fragments would become a foundation, not just for a station, but for a new way of existence. 3,000 years ago, Elena said, watching the transformation begin, they tried to end humanity's story. Instead, they just gave us time to write a better one. Around them, the galaxy continued to change. Ships of all species moved through space together, sharing technology, sharing knowledge, sharing purpose. The old council's feared human potential had been realized, not as a force of destruction, but as a catalyst for transformation. The memorial will be complete in time for the 5-year anniversary, Sarah noted. What should we call it? Elena watched as another piece of Earth's remains was guided into place, its surface beginning to glow with the combined quantum technology of multiple species. Phoenix Station, she said finally. Because from Earth's ashes, we didn't just rebuild humanity. We helped rebuild civilization itself. Above them, the stars shone on a galaxy that was finally learning what humanity had known all along. That true strength comes not from destroying what you fear, but from embracing what you could become together. The Council had tried to write humanity's ending. Instead, they had only written the prologue to a story that would continue for millennia to come. A story not just of humanity's survival, but of a galaxy's transformation. The age of fear was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And this was only the beginning.